Welcome to Winning Mood, short, sharp, strongest SuperCoach and punting advice for the NRL week ahead. I'm Jacob Winn from the TryPod. He's Tim Moodie, the 2021 SuperCoach champion. We're live every week to share as much as we can with each other and our audience in under 20 minutes. Timmy, how'd you enjoy Magic Round?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, mate. It's always a great spectacle. It's great to see all the teams sort of just in the one spot, and everyone obviously that gets to go to it obviously has a great weekend. The rain seems to have sort of dampened the occasion for those that did go a little bit, and also for us that watched at home. It wasn't as exciting as it possibly could have been, but yeah, look, it's still a great weekend when the Panthers get up, and also the Brizzy Broncos. We're both happy.
Yeah, the Panthers certainly reasserted their dominance on the competition, and even though rain aside, I still think it just looked like an awesome carnival atmosphere. I think getting all the fans together, it definitely adds, even for me not attending, just watching it on TV with that that packed house makes me think, could they do it more often? Could they do like a second one and bring it to other locations as well? I reckon it would be cool. It was cool having them all, and it'll be an interesting element next year with the Dolphins in there, and then who has to sit out. I reckon there should be some sort of stakes, like, wooden spoon. I've heard that idea. You get the wooden spoon, you're the odd man out for the next Magic Round, something like that. But it's in the books now. There was some
tough with
tight
the buys
games
because they might have already played their buy, so they'd have to structure it that the teams that they anticipate to not do so well, not have their buys till later in the year.
Some logistics, and you wouldn't want like a team like Brisbane to get the wooden spoon and then not be involved in a Brisbane Magic Round. Not that that's going to happen this year. Now, talk specifically about Magic Round, how your team did, but actually I'm hoping to get an exclusive right now, mate. Obviously, the big news of the week is Trent Barrett stepping aside at the Bulldogs, and they're in a bit of turmoil. They don't have a coach. Mick Potter announced today he's only the interim coach. They do not have a coach for 2023 and beyond. Can you drop an exclusive at all for the Winning Mood audience? Have you applied for the role?
Yeah, look, I can confirm I have put some feelers out to the Bulldogs, let them know of my credentials. I think at the moment they might be just looking over my resume and probably expecting a call later in the week. No, all that aside, look, probably not. But to be fair, there's a very good chance that the 18th team might be the Villy Army in the NRL. So I have put that towards the NRL. We've placed our application. So it's either us or PNG by the looks of it at this stage. So we'll see what happens.
Or if you relocate to Perth, that could be an option. But I liked what you put on Twitter about how if you can already beat 100,000 coaches, then I'm sure you can handle 16 more. And, speaking of Villy Army, that's your SuperCoach team name. He's your favorite player, right?
Oh, he's my favorite.
Where's he playing in 2023?
He's playing at the Doggies, so it'd be a great connection.
That's what I'm thinking. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm going to monitor that. I think you're as good a candidate as any, and I think their issue's been scoring points, and that's certainly not yours. But tell me how you went in round 10, mate. I'm hoping you did really well because I'm living vicariously through your team.
I didn't. I did very parish. I didn't think there'd be much movement for a lot of people this week because it was a bit of a mediocre week for a lot of people. But I managed to jump 33 spots. I'm now into 694th. I scored 1,025. So not fantastic. My captain was Nico, which I think a lot of people went. Pretty underwhelming. I brought in Chom Travojevic, vice captain him. He stunk it up. Obviously, there's a bit of a niggle there. Rumor on the street, he copped a cork, so it's not a re-niggle from that previous injury he's just come back from. So fingers crossed he's right to go. But we'll touch on him a bit more in red light, green light. But yeah, also brought in a weird one, Tyrone Wishart. I had Sony Luke, the Penrith backup hooker, third string guy. So he wasn't doing anything. So I thought, look, because it was a like-for-like price, I thought I'll get Tyrone Wishart in there, even if he's going to just play a couple of weeks and maybe get me a little price rise so I can go to someone else a bit later. I also thought that maybe if Grant doesn't back up in round 14 after Origin, then Wishart might get the nod and not have that information for that game, because sometimes you might have a different hooker and you go, I'll play Harry, and then Harry's playing in the later in the round, and then you go, damn it, I should have played my other hooker. So I thought if I have the guy from the same team, it just gives me that little bit of coverage, even if he is going to score me 20 points. But we'll see what happens. So, yeah, look, I didn't have a lot of great performers. I kind of feel like I did well in playing Targo, which a lot of people sort of left out. I left Max King out, who did score a low 28. So that was a helpful one. But I had some really stinkers there, mate. I had James Talmalolo for 24, who played bugger all minutes. They got the job done, and it looks like coach just rested him because they got a tough couple of games coming up. So I think he'll probably play some good minutes this week and next week, hopefully. Garrick for a 20 as well. Pretty rough. Stags for a 35. Talakai for a 34. So some pretty rough scores there. But yes, managed to.
In saying that, mate, I mean, you're in the top 1,000, which I think is outstanding, and then you climbed 33 spots. So I feel like if you're still climbing from within the top 1%, you probably did better than par. So that probably shows a lot of people's. And we discussed that like Turbo shouldn't have played. Although that's interesting. That's the first I heard that if he picked up a cork in the game, then actually maybe the knee joint itself was fine going in, and it was just purely bad fortune. And then I think very shrewd to pick up Wishart with the eligibility at hooker. But of course, he played full 80 minutes at fullback for the Storm. He had the opportunity to score. He just had a really rough night at the office. He is named at fullback again this weekend, and it's not an easy game up in Townsville, but you know, I'm sure he'll probably have more success than he did against your Panthers.
I've got a gut feeling that they might switch it up, and they've named him there. Maybe they'll end up, chucking him in the halves, Munster at fullback, or mix it around, maybe put him on the bench and have Meany there and another bloke come into the side for the wing. But look, if he does get it, I think he should. They need to give him another go. It was a tough game against Penrith. Penrith are always going to target the weaknesses of sides. That's why they were, great with Targo and Kikau on the left, hitting Marion Seve, who was, their weakness there. And also some young bloke who doesn't normally play at fullback, kicking bombs to him and making him knock it on. So not every team's as good at exposing weaknesses as the Panthers. So hopefully they give him another go and he goes well. But, yeah. So you wanted to discuss your side now, I believe.
Oh, well, yeah, I will confess to the followers that I actually looked at my team on Monday to see how I went. And I've gone shocking here. And I've gone, oh, geez, I've still got Cam Murray. And not only do I still have Cam Murray, he's starting for me. And I had, who else? Host. I can't even remember. Maybe I can pull it up. But I realized, I never made any trades and I never set my lineup. It was Magic Round was just hectic. It's a big round for all of us. The content and then, the tips, we had extra markets coming up. So I stuffed up, guys. So even though, I am devoted to this show and trying to get into the world of SuperCoach, it slipped my mind. I dropped the ball there. And I think
you learn from the mistakes, rookie error. But,
I think I am going to announce that now I care more about your team than my team. Like, I think it's a lost season for me. I'm not Trent Barrett. I'm not saying I'm stepping down. I'm still going to coach my team as well as I can. But I'm going to be more happy hearing about your team. And I think there's probably people watching or listening who can relate to that, it hasn't gone all their way this year. Maybe you were like me. You were a bit too stubborn, thinking you know better than everyone else and picking the guys you like. And then your scores are mediocre or worse than mediocre in my case. But we can cheer Timmy on for his quest to go back to back, I say.
We love a fan base. The Vili Army have got a great culture, a great bunch of blokes that, just play hard week after week. So get around them, cheer for them. Last year on my run home, we had quite a few people. I sort of encouraged them to change their team logo to my team colours. And so there was a lot of pink and black going on there. This year, I've got my bloody mug up there, so you don't get to see my bloody logo. But we'll see a bit more of my logo very soon. I'll got that coming up. Just a little something. You'll see it here next week for sure. But we're going to see it this week as well.
That sounds like a tease or foreshadowing. Cool. Yeah, mate, you've been on a few shows this week. So what has been the hot topic? I mean, is other people grilling you? We've addressed the Bulldogs rumors, but those aside, what were the hottest topics in SuperCoach this week on the big shows?
I guess, Turbo, if you brought him in, what do you do with him? Do you sell him? He looked like, because at the time he looked like he was really underdone and he was hurting and on the eye test needs to go. But if it's just a cork and it is something that can be managed and it's fine, like it's not an
Well,
actual.
I mean, if he wasn't named this week, you'd be very concerned. The fact that he's
But then again,
named
Desi
at
does the
fullback,
smoke and mirrors too. Who, for all I know,
yes,
he just doesn't play. So the great thing is he plays on the Friday night, the third game of the round. So there's some very insignificant games before that with like the likes of the Bulldogs, the Tigers, and not very many SuperCoach relevant players are in those sides. So
right.
for most of us that do have Turbo, we can wait till that game, have a look at him parade around like a horse on the field and get a look at him and see whether he's, in form, that sort of
See how he looks in the yard when he's
yeah,
not sweating up.
I'm big on that. I do that a lot of the time. That's why I do a late captain change sometimes. I'll see him in the sheds and someone's just like, full pumped. I'm like, oh, geez, get it on him. I like that sort of stuff. So if someone's looking a bit nonchalant, a bit disengaged, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. So, yeah, it's important for me. But other things that we've been talking about is IPAP and Cotter. Okay, so IPAP's at 800K. Isaiah Papali'i, he doesn't play the bye. He does have dual front row and second row flexibility, which is great. He is scoring, averaging 85, and he seems to be consistently able to get you, worst case scenario of 50 if he's had a real quiet one, but more often than not, 65, 70s, 80s, and the occasional hundreds and a nice ton plus if he scores a try or two. So, or, he's involved in some other sort of attacking stat, like helping assist one or something. But look, I don't know. Look, I kind of really want him, but I'd have to sell someone that I'm not really prepared to. I have been tempted to think about selling James Tedesco because of the tough run and for the fact that I'm going to have two fullbacks that play Origin and two halfbacks that play Origin. So that means that at round 14, if neither of them back up, I'm going to be lower on numbers. It's okay to not have 17 players for the bye, round 13. But if you don't have 17 players in round 14 or either side of the bye when players are getting rested, that's when you really start to fall behind. You'll notice it big time. I know it happened last year for a few people. So keep an eye out for that. That's something you've got to pay attention to. So maybe, but I'm just thinking for me, I don't know if I need to rush Teddy this week, even though he's playing the Panthers. And I don't think, I'm really big on Panthers, keep players lower. Maybe I can just wait, assess, see if, who's the right guy to sell out of Turbo and Teddy in a couple of weeks. Turbo might drop some more cash, unfortunately, but sometimes you just got to be patient and make the right trade rather than worrying about the money that's involved, because the amount of times you'll be stuck on, do I sell Teddy or Turbo? You sell Turbo and then Teddy gets Teddy gets injured, and then you're thinking, I wish I had kept Turbo. So it happens all the time. Other than that, Ruben Cotter, as I mentioned, very, very, very good. He would have been a perfect buy at 480. He's up in the 500s now, and it's a little bit of an awkward price. The thing I don't love is he does look like he's going to play Origin. I really think he's going to get that job. He's going to be featuring the side somewhere. So if you're thinking of him as a buy number, I really doubt you. I think you're going to be upset there. So that's why I'm staying off. I think that he's someone, if he doesn't get picked up for Origin, I might buy him at round 13 and just see how he goes over the next couple of weeks. I've got a feeling that he's playing extra minutes. Hopefully Tom Malolo plays more minutes now because of the better sides, and Cotter still will play decent minutes, but hopefully there's a little bit more balance there for me as a Lolo and not a Cotter owner. Other than that, it's kind of like how many other things we've been talking about, buy numbers. How many do you have now? How many should we be aiming for? I think a good number to have is somewhere between 12 and 15. It's a good number. I'm probably going to be on the lower end. I'm probably going to be looking for 11 or 12. And the reason for that is because I want to have more for round 17 buys and target that. Because if you bring in a whole bunch of players for round 13 that are just for buy coverage and you don't really want to keep them, you've then got to get rid of them. You've got to sell them on sort of in a rush, and then you're wasting more trades, and you're trying to bring in round 17 guys, and are they keepers or not keepers? So I'm going to take it easy on the first buy, probably take a little bit of a hit that week, but know that I'm playing the long game and I'll come back. So yeah, I think this is a really big week for people to save trades. If there's no one screaming out, I need this guy, like, yes, IPAP looks great. Yes, Cotter looks great. But if you're selling another gun that's still doing a reasonable enough job, why do it? You know what I mean? So I guess that's it. Also, another thing that's relevant to talk about is buy numbers. When you bring in a player, try to think about, is this player is he going to just get me a 20 or a 30, and is it worth it? You know what I mean? If he's going to only get you 20 or 30, you won't really miss or need that 30 extra points in the buy round. So try to think about quality, not quantity. That's probably the biggest shout. We should probably do a quick red light, green light. I've been talking too long.
Well, I tell you, mate, no other show gets through that much information in that space of time. This is the easiest job in the world for me as hosting. I just wind you up, let you go, and you just gave us a ton of information.
The good thing is
5 minutes.
Red light, green light is short this week.
We will do a rapid fire red light, green light. Yeah, Cotto's definitely going to play Origin, so maybe you do lean towards IPAP. I'm going to put up the graphic, shoot through, red light, green light, mate.
Okay, red light, green light. I think it's orange lights this week. If you can hold, saving trades is important. I feel like this is the week to do it. Yes, we need buy round numbers, but remember, it's only round 11 now. So we get round 12 to bring in players for round 13 and also round 13. And in round 13, you get 3 trades. You don't have to use a boost. They're giving us an extra 3. And you also get that in round 17. So if you don't do any trades this week, you can still bring in 5 more people over the next 2 weeks without using a boost, or 6 with using a boost. So if you want to take your time and just assess who you want to bring in, take your time. That's my red light, green light. I don't really think anyone's a great buy or a great sell outside of that. I don't even see anyone as a massive sell. Popular sell is Randall because people want to get Cotter in. I can get around that because they're pretty close in price. I've already sold Randall, so I'd probably say, yeah, that's a pretty good thing. Even if Cotter does play Origin, he's a better goer, a better player than Randall for SuperCoach and probably for Rugby League as well at the moment.
Well, you shared heaps of thoughts on, the decision-making in terms of broader picture of who to bring in or who to hold or who to sell leading up to red light, green light. So I think that's heaps on kind of your personnel decisions. Mate, I'll let people know you can comment to win a jersey. The game is Sharks-Titans. Just comment the player and the minute of the final try in that game. And Timmy can introduce the 2 of 3 ain't bad market this week, which was... It came up empty last week. So
we went down last week. We were 0 from 4. We had 2 out of 4 ain't bad, and we couldn't even pick up 1. But do you know what? I think we looked too much into the fact that it was the wet conditions, and we didn't there was wingers scoring like crazy. But look, I'm excited about this week, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm pretty confident in my 2, Stags and Talakai. Both have them in my SuperCoach side, and I think there's a lot of people looking to sell these guys as well because they've been sort of a bit underperforming. But I love guys that are underperforming because I know they're due. And I just think that Stags up against Best, Stags seems to like to perform against other centers that are talented. He always goes quiet in the easier games, but in the big games against a good center, he steps up. And Talakai this week, hands down, it's happening. I think him and Mulatalo will score a couple between them, but we're not chucking Mulatalo in because he's a bit too cheaper. And you're on Denny Wateni Zalesniak. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Dallin even. Yeah, well, that ties into the pod best. I think we've had James Taumalolo as well. We should give a shout out, Jason's brother, tonight. But we like New Zealand this week, so we've bet them
what did I call
cover the line +6. James. I think you're thinking of a different James T that's also in your team. But
I make him really fast.
And to tie it all into punting, we're laying the points with the Broncos. We've got Brisbane -5.5. So again, I like your Stags call. He wants to cement his Origin jersey. Going New Zealand this week against the Dragons. I see that as much more of a 50-50, and we've got +6, even though New Zealand's the away side, and Tenny's Lesniak's on the wing, so he'll have a fair chance on a Saturday afternoon. And then also can't argue with Talakai. I do think the Sharkies will bounce back from the upset of Magic Round, and the Titans certainly can leak points, and they've had some issues with their outside backs and their decision making. So then we've got 3 really red hot shots and $3 odds. You can have up to $100 on that. That's very juicy. Again, only need 2 out of those 3, and Timmy's going to get us out of here in under 30 seconds.
Under 30 seconds, guys. If you've got any questions, tag us in the comments and we'll try to get around to that for you before kickoff tomorrow. I'm going to bed pretty soon, so it probably won't happen tonight. And other than that, we hope we've put you in a winning mood. Good luck with your SuperCoach, guys. And if you're going to have a punt, do it with our boys at Top Sport.
And always do it responsibly. Cheers, guys. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you next week.